It's total domination, and that is what they want. You are just supposed to eat it. You're supposed to sit there and cower in the corner as these guys come in and do whatever the they want. No dissent allowed, no civil disobedience allowed, just whatever they say goes. You must obey, 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 obey. You're supposed to, if you're going to die, you're going to die. Sorry. The Renee Good situation.
President, in your conversations with these oil executives today, did you provide any security guarantees so that they can do their work safely in Venezuela? Yeah. And separately, Mr. President,
they will have those guarantees, yes.
And separately, Mr. President, I'm curious in terms of the future of Venezuela. Do you see Venezuela now led by Delcy Rodriguez?
Right. They do have is very strong people. And protect the people running Venezuela, and they were taking a lot of money from
I'm rewinding
Venezuela.
because someone asked a question related to the situation.
So, Marco, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the fundamental problem in Cuba is that it's run by incompetent people that don't know what an economy looks like, much less a functioning one. They've made a choice, and that is they would rather have political control over their people than they would to have an economy that functions. And they've gotten away with it for 60-something years because they've had donors, the Soviet Union, and now most recently Venezuela. But that's now gone. So the people in control in Cuba have a choice to make. They can either have a real country with a real economy where their people can prosper, or they can continue with their failing dictatorship that's going to lead to systemic and societal collapse. That's a very stark and dramatic choice, and it's one we hope to make the right one. We don't have an interest in a destabilized Cuba, but that would be their fault because they refuse to allow the people of Cuba to have either economic or political freedom for that matter.
And you have a lot of people in this country that want to go back to Cuba and help Cuba. A lot of people have left, they came in penniless, they didn't have anything, and they've become very rich people in our country, and they want to very much go back and help Cuba. So that's something that Cuba has that a lot of other places don't have. Peter?
President Trump, thank you. I do want to ask you about Minnesota, but first, just more on topic. President Zelensky said that he was watching with the rest of the world as you made this order to go and capture Nicolas Maduro. And he said, if that's how it works with dictators, then the United States knows what to do next. Sounds like he wants you to go and capture Vladimir Putin. Would you ever order a mission to go and capture Vladimir Putin?
Well, I don't think it's going to be necessary. I think we're going to have I've always had a great relationship with him. I'm very disappointed. I settled 8 wars. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack or maybe one of the easier ones. And I don't know if you know, Peter, the last month, they lost 31,000 people, many of them Russian soldiers, and the Russian economy is doing poorly. I think we're going to end up getting it settled. I wish we could have done it quicker because a lot of people are dying, and mostly soldiers. They get hit in Kiev and they get hit a little bit here and there, and people are dying there too. But largely, it's the soldier population. When you have 30,000, 31,000 soldiers dying in a period of a month.
Is the question after he's done answering this?
27,000 the month before, 26,000 the month before that. That's bad stuff. So, as you know, President Biden gave $350 billion to Ukraine to fight, and we would never get that back, although I did make a rare earth deal to get it back, so we will be getting it back, but shouldn't have done that. It was a bad thing to do.
What the f*** is this pin?
I will say that right now, because I was able to get NATO to up GDP from 2% to 5%, NATO's got a lot of money, and they're paying for everything. We're not losing any money. We're making a lot of money, I guess, if you think of it, because we're selling them military equipment. They're probably giving it to Ukraine. But we're selling them to NATO military equipment. We're getting full price and all of that. But that's not a big deal to me. What is a big deal is stopping a war where 30,000 people are being killed every single month.
And on Minnesota, the vice president yesterday suggested that Renee Good, who was killed by this ICE officer, was part of a broad left-wing network. What has your team told you about this broad left-wing network? Who is in charge of it? Who's part of it? What's it called?
Well, I haven't seen the vice president's statement, but he's generally very accurate. I hate to say, look, I watched that yesterday, and there are a lot of different forms to it. But there was a woman screaming, "Shame, shame, shame, shame." She was a agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker. Because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this, the news sort of...
Dude, understand that this is all it takes for justification for state-sanctioned violence now. If you say shame on you to an ICE agent, they can kill you. That is what they are. That is the environment that they're designing. If you say shame on you to an ICE agent, you are basically a part of a sophisticated domestic terror network, and they can just kill you. They can kill you, and the government will justify it, and the government will do everything they can to protect the ICE agent. You are now officially an agitator, a part of a sophisticated network of terror. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a world where like Nick Shirley got domed by a cop, and under the Biden administration, they were like, sorry, you know, he was being an agitator. He was, and there's more argument to make about him being a part of a professional propaganda apparatus, considering he's done like pro-Israel content, considering he's done like content at CCOT. He was at January 6th. Can you imagine how the hogs would behave in that situation? Can you imagine what the right wing would do in that situation? They would lose their minds. Yeah. If you're in a car and you're an ICE agent, it's enough. You're operating a deadly weapon now. That's it. That's it. That's the argument that they're presenting. And they will say that you are a terrorist. You're a part of a sophisticated terror network. Thought it would took more to be a part of a well-organized terrorist organization than saying shame? No, that's what these guys in their minds, because that's the whole point here. The whole point here is that if you are against anything, if you even openly say you're efendim tamam başka bir şeye ihtiyacın var mı? Okay. Bana söyle, bana yaz ver ve alırım. Okay. Zaten ama sonra çok geç. Ben yani 6 gibi falan istiyorum. They don't want people to even hurt their feelings. They want to project power over those who even hurt their feelings. Okay? That's it. That's the reason why they went after Jimmy Kimmel when Jimmy Kimmel didn't even say anything about Charlie Kirk that was like unacceptable, right? Like the goal here isn't the goal, like those who are trying to find like intellectual consistency here on the right, especially that are trying to defend this stuff are never going to be able to find any sort of intellectual consistency, because the goal by this administration's standards is no dissent allowed. If you're doing any dissent, if you're actually saying shame on you to an ICE agent at moments after an ICE agent murdered one of your friends or your neighbor or your wife, then you're a terrorist. You're a part of a sophisticated domestic terror group. It's total domination, and that is what they want. Okay? You are just supposed to eat it. You're supposed to sit there and cower in the corner as these guys come in and do whatever the they want. No dissent allowed. No civil disobedience allowed. Just whatever they say goes. You must obey. You're supposed to, if you're going to die, you're going to die. Sorry. That's what it is. That's what they want.
Turned her down, turned her off, because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words. So I guess you could say professional, but I didn't think she did a very good job. You have agitators, and we will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol and our law enforcement.
Mr. President, in your conversations with these oil executives today, did you provide any security guarantees so that they can do their work?
Yeah, even if you literally observe a murder that takes place, you have to be quiet, because otherwise you could be next. Otherwise you could be called a domestic terrorist. It's insane to me.